Jitendra Singh. I welcome you to read my story where I interview authors, speakers, coaches, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and more. Today I have with me Miss Deepa Panwar. She is the author, educator, lawyer, humanist, sociologist. She has been trained in development and demography from the top educational institutes in India and abroad, with research, teaching, and litigation experience followed by life coach training to complement understanding and facilitation of a better managed life. On a mission to train 1 lakh families through women in key life skills through holistic personal development, her vision and mission is to create a truly accomplished new generation and a new society free from strife and conflict, focused on nurturing their core potentialities, all set to soar never seen heights. She is working on one-stop trust-based support network for women, holistic personal development, shift think to upgrade, life transformation courses, one-on-one consultation. Today she will be discussing with us about her life journey. So let us hear from her. Welcome Deepa, the platform is open and now over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Pleasure to have you here. So, first thing I'd like to know from you is about you. How did your past life has affected the person who you are and what you wanted to be in your life?
All right. So, as all of us know that we are a product of our own lives. Actually,
right.
Each one of us is a unique product of our life and circumstances.
Correct.
So, I've been blessed with a great life. I mean, I don't have any regrets as such. At one point, I used to be really emotional. Like women usually are when circumstances change, family changes.
Right.
So that challenge I have faced. But in general, I would say that life has been a blessing. But yes, when we go through life, I have been since the very beginning wanting to do something. People used to know the first title I got from my juniors was that I was very helpful to people. I mean, I liked helping people. That was something the first thing I remember I was recognized as.
Nice to hear that.
Helpful. So, given that I had options to take up when I started my studies, so I had options. My father wanted me to take up English language.
Okay.
At Delhi University.
To be on teaching side?
No. He just wanted me to take up English honors at Delhi University.
Right.
So that was his this thing. So he used to take me to St. Stephen's, and with my percentage I could get through. So, but I was like, no, I want to do sociology.
Okay.
So those times my sociology was available only in 6 colleges. Mm-hmm. So I remember how I insisted and I said, no, I'll do sociology. I will not do English.
Right.
So he was like, please try kar lo, bhar do. That was the case, but I took up sociology. Mm-hmm. Then I went on to do development studies. Before this also I've done, if you have heard about the SOS Children's Villages of India, Dr. J.N. Paul, that was my first job.
Okay.
So yeah, after that I did my post-graduation at the London School of Economics.
Right.
And that is where I did development studies.
Okay.
Immediately after I got married and I joined a French government charity in Pune. Mm-hmm. It was a French government initiative that was running at that time in about 9 countries. This is Pune, 2005, end of 2005. That is when I got married and we moved to Pune. I left that job after I had my boy.
Okay.
I think he was 10 months when we moved to UK.
Okay.
That was the time I left my job.
Right.
And after then it took 3 years we were there. I mean, nothing much I could do because my husband was working. I had to take care of him. So it was just, we had fun. Both of us used to be on the streets. And so that was a good time. And that was the time I was also doing law when he was little, like he was 3 or something. So I started doing my law and I finished law. And because of these timing constraints, because initially my job used to get over at 7:38, which was not suitable for the child.
Correct.
So I switched to a teaching job in Symbiosis. There I was for about 6 7 years. I was teaching various subjects as well as in the BBA category. I was teaching law subjects also. Sociology was one of my main subjects.
Right.
After that, in 2016, I was enrolled. I belong to a family of my father-in-law is a very established criminal lawyer.
Right.
So he is the one of his kind. He's too good. So with the kind of environment that was there in the family, I also got into law, but I couldn't do it the way he used to do it. I mean,
Correct.
when I actually saw, criminal case, he's a criminal expert. That's not my personality. I couldn't do it anyway.
Right.
But when I started looking at the family related cases, divorce cases, and the way women were suffering, it was painful for me to see that.
Right.
Yeah. So finally, COVID gave me a chance to sit back and think कि अब क्या करना है.
Good.
So I am still with the High Court, but I finally decided that I want to come up with this one-stop trust-based support network for women.
Okay.
And this is for the first time I realized that the actual help that we could give anybody is not in an international NGO. It's not in colleges. I am sure there are so many teachers doing that. But what I am doing now is something that nobody else is doing.
Correct.
So what we're doing now, and I have a group of, I'm very lucky to have such support. So we are a group of women who are working on holistic personal development, and we are dealing with women 30 to 45 right now.
Okay.
That is the target audience we have. That is the age group we are because women with children basically. Some women who are 25 are also joining us, but because 25 to 30 women are still thinking kar lenge.
Correct.
But
correct.
by the time you are 30 something, then they're like nahi kuch galti ho rahi hai.
Correct. Because normally if we see people like women getting married these days, their age is around 25 to 28 normally. So first 2-3 years are kind of normal to most people, but the actual struggle starts when they reaches towards like early 30s.
Yes, that's when the struggle starts.
Correct.
For us and my team members, like my group members, all of us got married towards the earlier side. We got married before 25. So we got into the reality much earlier as compared to the others.
Right.
So if it was 28 for us, the dawn would come later.
Right.
Yeah. So we've all come out of it, and we now realize that we really need help. Everything is not. So this platform is a great help, and we are able to do that in a good way. I am proud of what I'm doing right now.
Sure, definitely it will be a wonderful thing to women, supporting them emotionally, physically, mentally. This is really important. So if I talk about your passion, things you are passionate about in your life, what are those things?
I have come to appreciate nature a lot. I've grown up at a farmhouse. So we've grown up literally in the middle of nowhere. We only had fields all around us.
Okay.
Which is true, but then the way I appreciate nature now is something that every single day, a new leaf comes out. It's become my passion. It's become my passion. So that is there. Little children, I'm really, really sensitive when it comes to growing up children. I've become spiritual. I mean, my passions have changed. Earlier, I used to just, if you look at it that way, I've become spiritual. And to be able to do the best that I can for my family, for my loved one.
Right.
Those are my passions. Simple passions.
Wonderful.
Really.
That is really nice to hear, because we are like associated with people only, with nature and everything around us. That is what makes us complete. So in that ways, your thoughts are really onto it. Wonderful.
Seriously, if you tell me that, okay, my passion is to fly, to go somewhere, no, really no.
Right.
My passion is to be myself and allow people to be themselves.
Correct. Right. So if we talk about your work and experience, some of the things you have already shared, but I'd like to know more onto it, like what all you did, how your career was like, and why you choose law. Before that you were doing something else, then law, then now you are again into a new kind of a journey altogether.
I would say that anything here is disconnecting, as probably it might seem to an outside observer. But for me, initially it was sociology and development, which is connected, which is very, very connected. I mean, it is the next valid step when you start taking up a job in an international NGO, which is supposed to be how you go after you do sociology.
Correct.
Which was fine. But then what was happening over there is that, okay, we are going to the field, we are collecting. I was the impact assessment in charge of the project that we were. I was the impact assessment head of the project that we were handling, that my organization was handling. And I was noticing that the reports that I was creating, I used to write what I saw. But my superiors, they were like, okay, ye nahi likhna hai, ye likhna hai.
Okay, like kind of you were in a situation that you were collecting the raw data from
we were collecting we were doing the impact assessment.
Okay.
So I was in charge of the impact assessment. So now impact assessment means impact assessment, right? But for whatever reasons, I'm sure that they also had some reporting only was the issue. But it was like, ye nahi karna hai, ye karna hai.
Got it.
So I was like, fir kyun karna hai?
Correct.
So that put me off there. But and at the same time, I had a 6-month-old baby, 8-month-old baby when I left that. So my priority was my child at that time.
Right.
And I've been fortunate enough to not have to. I wouldn't say that har waqt job karte rehna zaruri hai. So I left out of choice.
Right. Perfect.
I left out of choice because the child was important at that time.
Correct.
कोई मजबूरी नहीं थी. And if I had taken up a job, उस time जो stress होता ना job के और उसके साथ में, I mean, I never thought that there's a need to do that. So I left it completely. After that, अब करना क्या है? तो you could study further.
Right.
So what logical step to take? Law made sense.
Because of your family background and all.
Because of the family background, because of understanding of law only helped. So because I had time and I was fond of doing something or the other, I don't want to sit idle. So I took up law. I was initially not in India, then I came back to India. That is why law happened. So nothing out of not disconnected for me at least.
Correct.
And then because the job was suitable, teaching job was more suitable with the child.
True.
Go with the child, come back with the child. And I enjoyed teaching. So yeah,
so after coming back to India, you get into teaching initially.
Yes.
Though you were
initially visiting lectures.
Though you were a lawyer, by qualification, but then
I was with the law school only, no?
Okay, you were doing
I was with law school.
Law education as well. That point in time.
Law education. Yes,
Got it.
I was with the law school only throughout. So I have not taught anywhere else. Throughout it was the law school only.
Right.
So but then COVID happened, and so all of us got a chance to know ourselves better. And that is when I thought that the best way to complement whatever I know and understand now is to be able to help families, because family law I was practicing. I'd seen cases in High Court. I'd seen the plight of women. 15 साल से केस चल रहे हैं, 20 साल से केस चल रहे हैं. बच्चे इतने थे, अभी they've grown up.
Correct. That is really
parents have become old. I mean, I couldn't bear the sight of it. It was really not okay with me. I was like, this is something that needs to change. Why is this happening? And I realized that it's happening because some or the other lawyer comes up and says कि चलो ये वाला केस डाल दो. You know, when the woman is in a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of people come and help her.
Correct.
And then some of them come up with lawyers, and then the lawyers are like, चलो अपनी fees लो, आगे चलो.
Correct. They are not anyway concerned with the solution. They are only concerned with their fees.
No, seriously. So that's what I'm saying, that as we, with every experience in life, we learn. And I learned that, okay, helping women get a divorce is not, a lot of people are doing that.
Right.
We need to save families, we need to save children. Even today, I don't say I'm saving women. My purpose is to be able to save the next generation.
Correct. That is really an important thing, because these situations impact their life the maximum way, because they are kids, they are young, they are growing, they are going to school. The kind of impact they are having with these kind of situation is really a bad thing on their personality, on their thoughts, on their mindset. That is hampering them overall.
They get a real blow. Their personality and the way they think is so complicated.
True.
Simply because of what they're facing, and that's not fair.
True.
Yeah.
So if I talk about your vision, mission and goal in your life for next 5 to 10 years, though you have already mentioned it to me earlier, but I still want to know more onto it. it? Like, what is your thoughts for that?
So, see, what we're doing right now, what I'm trying to do right now, it's not that the journey has been all this while towards this only, but what we've come to do right now is only going to grow. So when you say next 5 to 10 years, I understand that we'll be able to make a real difference and save lives of people and allow people to live happy lives within their families.
Right.
A simple thing that if I could, I don't know if it is relevant over here, but it's just hitting my head right now, is that people say ki don't hate anybody, right?
Right.
So 5 to 10 years, we are going to only be able to take this further, allow people to live happier lives, closer to their life purpose.
Right.
Because I feel I have come to my much close to my life purpose as compared to earlier. So I would, and the kind of satisfaction that comes with it when you're doing something not for the sake of doing it.
Correct.
But because it comes from within, that's how everybody should do it.
And more importantly, you are impacting people's life in a positive way, like helping them to understand things in a better way and taking a right step towards their situation, problem maybe. So this is really important thing and a wonderful cause you are taking as your mission. So this is amazing. So if I talk about your most important life lessons in your life from personal and professional things, so what are those things?
So I would say that to begin with, जितना जल्दी हो सके अपने बच्चे को ये सिखाओ कि they should connect with the purpose of their life.
Right.
जितना जल्दी हो सके. Don't get into a lot of influence from external factors. Every child, when I said that I'm becoming a little spiritual, I realize now that every child comes blessed with a certain skill, and the environment that they are born in is perfectly adequate. That is what I've come to understand. वो जिस जगह बच्चा पैदा होता है, वो जगह उसके लिए बिल्कुल perfect होती है.
Correct.
उसके स्किल को डेवलप करने के लिए.
Right.
So don't waste time. Identify what is it that your child is naturally good at and try to make their lives simpler rather than making them more and more complicated.
True.
Declutter your mind, declutter your child's mind. Don't think about fighting a legal battle or a strategy battle or a this or a that. My life lesson is that you straight go ahead, and if you are connected with your life purpose, I feel all the hindrances in life, all those things that take you away from your life purpose will cause problems for you.
Correct.
And every time you're doing something that is really your calling, it becomes easier.
True.
So this is my life lesson. ज़्यादा time इधर उधर waste नहीं करना. उसने ये कहा, ये कर लेते हैं. उसने बोला, वो कर लेते हैं. No, don't ask ask your own self.
Correct. Clarity of thought.
Clarity of thought. If it has to come from meditation, let it come from meditation. If it has to come from counseling, let it come from counseling. There can be 100 different ways on how you reach there.
Correct.
But that's how you have to go.
True. And that is really important because unless you know yourself, you know your thoughts, you know your needs, requirements, the purpose, what you are doing, why you are doing, and the people also, I would say, because unless you involve yourself with everything, you would not be able to understand things in a better way.
Exactly. If you distance yourself from your deep core within, then nobody's going to save you. How can you be saved?
True. So, moving on to this topic further, as you have mentioned about the relationship, so I want to know further onto it. Like when a relationship is getting intoxicated and people think to get divorced or to separate, what is the awareness level they should know, have kind of knowledge they should have about the legal proceedings and aspects?
All right. So since marriage is a contract and it is legally binding, so either you live well as a married couple, because it's not just you have other stakeholders in your relationship.
Correct.
So either you live well or you part ways. I agree with that. So to begin with, once you start facing these difficulties, or when you feel that divorce could be an option, because divorce is an option, so a lot of divorces are happening also for whatever reasons.
Correct.
I I would say that think through, take time, because it's getting married and then getting divorced and then getting into a relationship again, and then, or maybe probably, it's not easy. It will take away all your energy.
Correct.
It will take away a lot of even your own energy. I mean, it's not always worth it.
Right.
So you have to think through and probably get to consult somebody who could show you the real picture.
Correct.
And see what are the benefits of staying in the marriage, what are the benefits of moving out of the relationship. Think through completely. I would say that, on a piece of paper, write down. Take time to see if it is the right way to go, this way or that way.
Correct.
And you do that without being emotionally clouded. There are options legally that you can take before marriage also. There are legal options if you are suffering, if a woman is suffering or if a husband is suffering. There are options, legal steps that can be taken within the marriage.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can become aware of that. You can discuss with somebody. You can get in touch with somebody. Then there are steps that you could take after taking a divorce.
Okay.
And the way you take a divorce also, there are different ways. Okay, the couple could mutually agree to not be with each other.
Correct.
The husband could say, I want a divorce, and the wife could, go on for the rest of her life ki nahi dungi.
That can be
possible,
a
and a lot of cases this is happening. So, but when you're doing it, you must know why you're doing it, right? So I would say that all these options, the legal options that are available to you before getting divorced, legal options available to you after getting divorced in case there are children, and the way you would want to take up a divorce. I mean, 20,000 में 15-20,000 में आपका mutual divorce settle हो जाता है.
Right.
If that is what works for you, go ahead. But know that it works.
Correct.
So that is what I would say. If the relationship is toxic, and I personally believe no relationship is toxic. That's what I believe. Because if you are spiritually inclined, though, no relationship can be toxic if you are ready.
Correct.
But then it depends on where you want to spend your energies. The person who is causing the toxic situation for you is there for you to learn a lesson.
Right.
Maybe there is something that is missing in me, which is why I am suffering because of XYZ people. So the moment I learn, that's what I personally believe. And some people are not happy with me when I share this. But so to each his own. And the legal aspect should be understood thoroughly before taking any step.
Because it is impacting not only your life but multiple lives. So coming on to that, when we talk about a relationship, marriage, so there are so many people associated, like husband, wife, children, parents of both sides, siblings. So many people are associated there. So if we talk about this thing further, so what are the relationship and emotional aspects associated with such situation? Like, are they helpful in terms of easing it out, or they are creating some kind of problem, or how should we deal with relationship and emotional kind of a situation there?
How we should deal with the relationship with other people in the family?
And emotional aspect during this process.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So, as we all know, emotionally dealing with any situation means that you are clouded with emotions and then you are taking a decision.
Right.
और वो जब बादल छाया हुआ है और तब आप कोई नतीजे पे पहुंच रहे हो, तो आप गलत ही नतीजे पे पहुंच जाओगे.
Right.
So one thing is that you need to first get emotionally stable and then take the decision, because now you know who all are the stakeholders.
Correct.
The children are there, your spouse is there, you will have a certain kind of dependence on each other.
True.
You'll have a certain kind of dependence. It could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be, various things come into play. It could be social. So there are so many things, and then it depends on what your priority is. So if your priority, if you feel that, okay, I want to do something which I cannot do here.
Right. Agree.
In this circumstance, and then you see that, okay, why that is your priority. So for that you will need an unbiased opinion. You will need an assessment by somebody who is not biased. If you go sit, if the husband goes and asks his mother and his father कि क्या करूं, क्या करना चाहिए, कौन गलत है बताइए, तो
they will definitely be in his side only.
They'll cushion him. And the same thing will happen with the girl. When the girl is like, okay, मेरी क्या गलती है, तो her parents will be like, no, you are the best wife there could be ever. It's not your fault.
True.
Yeah, I'm sure that later on they'll realize, okay, the same daughter who's taken a divorce, after 10 years, her parents will tell her कि तुम्हारी ये गलती थी.
But in that point in time, they would put up all blames to the other person.
Yeah, because your child is your reflection.
Correct.
And when you say that your child is wrong, it means you are saying that you are wrong, your upbringing is wrong, and people don't want to do that.
Correct. And that has nothing to do with that, because situation is a thing which makes or breaks the relationship.
Yes, and we need to be able to sit on the outside and observe our own behavior, or for that matter the behavior of the other person. If you're looking at a member of the family और आपको उसका behavior पसंद नहीं आ रहा है, आप इमोशनली उससे डिस्टर्ब हो रहे हो, तो 2 मिनट आप वहां से निकल के, वो रोल से बाहर निकल के, तब उसका बिहेवियर असेस करो.
Right.
There are 100 different factors that are making them behave the way they are behaving. It's not you.
Correct.
Necessarily.
Correct.
I
Exactly.
hope I've answered your question. I'm not sure.
No, right. It's really an important thing. You should understand the situation from others' perspective as well, because that is the best thing you can do in that situation. And more importantly, for the sometime, you guys can forget the fight, everything between you and your spouse, and see the things from the perspective of your child, from the perspective of your parent, family associated, your role, responsibility, your financial condition, everything. So you need to assess everything there. That is again equally important.
Exactly.
Right. So coming back to you again, if I ask you, are you an introvert or an extrovert kind of a person while facing your audience, and what do you think the pluses and minuses of the same would be?
Of being an introvert or an extrovert?
Yeah.
What do you think? I am an introvert or an extrovert?
I would not answer this because the format is like that. You have to.
Okay. So usually the interview includes this question in your format, always?
Right.
All right. Okay. So I don't know if anybody else has given you this answer. Introvert या extrovert कुछ नहीं होता. There's nothing like that. If a certain person is faced in a situation that doesn't interest them,
right,
they become introverts.
True.
Okay. If I am surrounded by people who do not reflect what I am looking for, or we don't belong to the same wavelength, I don't gel with them,
correct,
I will become an introvert.
Right.
And at the same time, if I am in the company of people who resonate with how I think, how I believe, like-mindedness.
Correct.
Yeah, so you become an extrovert.
By default.
By default. So yeah, some people like to talk a lot, some people don't like to talk a lot. I am the kind of person who would talk a lot when it comes to my family, or when it comes to what I am wanting to do.
Right.
Otherwise I don't talk a lot. But if you ask my family, they'll be like, nahi, introvert nahi. Very close people.
Correct.
Yeah, very few, but otherwise, yeah. If the topic doesn't interest me, so yeah, that's what I feel, that introversion and extroversion is a matter of where you are.
Correct.
And
depending on situation and people.
And if it doesn't, labeling भी नहीं होना चाहिए. किसी को introvert कह देना या किसी को extrovert कह देना, it's a big thing. It plays on the mind.
Right.
So when you read psychology and when you read how it impacts people, this I would say is labeling.
Right.
And is not appropriate, especially when you're bringing up a child. आप बच्चे को ये नहीं कह सकते तू तो introvert है या तू तो extrovert है, वो ज़्यादा हो जाता है.
Correct.
It puts them off balance.
Correct. Like it is kind of creating a balance depending on situation and people, and this is what we should teach them as well. Like this is my belief too. Though people have different belief systems, they think in a different way. But I also believe in a way that if you are in a right situation, right people, right timing, you definitely become extrovert by default. And reverse situation, you became introvert too.
Yes.
So this is what I also believe. So I can say we have same kind of belief here. So if I talk about the kind of support you got from your people around you, so who all are there supported you the most in your journey?
Everyone. कुछ लोग मदद करके सपोर्ट करते हैं, कुछ लोग मदद नहीं करके सपोर्ट करते हैं. जो लोग मदद नहीं करके सपोर्ट करते हैं, तभी तो पता लगता है कि ये करना है.
Right.
वो they connect us with our own selves, no? Whatever hindrances we feel that ये हमें सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहा है.
Correct.
अभी वो भी सपोर्ट कर देंगे तो फिर आप गद्दा लगा के बैठे रहो, करोगे क्या?
Then you need not to do anything.
You are sitting on a sofa and I mean everyone is supporting you. What's the purpose of life then? फिर क्या करोगे?
Right.
So everyone is supporting me. There is absolutely nobody, I would say, in their own ways. Everybody, everything, all my ups, all my downs. I haven't discussed any downs here.
Right.
Because you never put up a question like that. But for me, it's like this, that I have come to understand and I have come to program myself in a manner that जो भी हो रहा है, उसमें से कुछ तो आप, it's a lesson all the time.
Correct. Something
and
is happening working for good.
Yeah, for sure. And if you learn how to look at it that way, everyone is a supporter.
Right.
Each and every person. Yeah.
Right. Because if we look for the positivity, then definitely we will get the positivity out.
And when I am a devotee of Lord Shiva, and from what I understand is, whatever little understanding I have, is that positive negative bhi kuch nahi hota.
Okay.
So it's just at the end of the day, positive and negative is also a perception on how we look at it. It's all nice. At the end of the day, we all need to be happy.
Right. So that's correct. If we talk about the kind of inspiration and motivation in life, so who are the people, situation, books, or other things which you think are your inspiration and motivation?
I've been able to get inspired by a lot of people. My grandparents, my grandfather and my paternal grandfather as well as my maternal grandfather, they were self-made men.
Okay.
And they reached the pinnacle, whatever height they could reach. They did that. My father's father, he passed away before I was born.
Okay.
And my mother's father, he passed away when I was 6.
Okay.
So they were because we've seen as children, we've seen whatever the kind of life we've been able to experience is because of them.
Right.
So one was into politics and the other was in the army.
Okay.
So they were my first inspirations, and my grandmothers respectively, because in those times the kind of support they were to both of them is amazing. I mean, you would see them, those ladies were women of substance.
Wow, that's nice.
So initially the way they could handle the families and without themselves being professionally involved in anything but just supporting their families and their husbands.
Right.
They did a wonderful job. So to begin with, they were my inspiration. And after that, I mean, the next inspiration is my son. Everybody has been inspiring.
Right.
My parents, my in-laws, my husband, my siblings, everybody. I mean, I try to learn something from everyone.
Great.
But a lot of things that I could never understand, little lessons in life, I've got them from my son.
Okay. Great. Because if we see the young generation coming up, they know a lot more than what we know.
Very true, very true. Such clarity. The only thing is that actually every child comes with that clarity.
Right.
But we confuse them.
Make agree.
We confuse them. So
when
you see these raw minds, like my nieces and my nephews, when you listen to them, when you talk, make them discuss issues, the kind of clarity they have. I mean, I just have one boy and I interact with him the most, which is why I said him. But every child is an inspiration.
True.
Every child is an inspiration, and the kind of clarity they have, we never did probably, or we lost it.
We never had that kind of a clarity when we were of their age, because of the information flow they have is much more which we used to have in our times. Great. So if I talk about your take on success, what do you think it should be or it is to you?
Success is satisfaction. To be able to do what you really want to do is success.
Right.
But it is true that if you do not have enough resources to be able to do what you wish to do and get some remuneration, some money has to come from what you're doing. So basically, to cut the long story short, I would say that success is holistic personal development.
Correct.
If you're financial, you're spiritual, you're social, you're physical, intellectual, emotional, all these aspects of your life are balanced, you are successful.
Right.
Otherwise, there is something missing and you need to make that up.
Correct. You need to be overall balanced out and able to enjoy everything in life, whatever you have.
Exactly.
Right.
You can't compensate one thing for the other.
Sure. That is really important. Yeah. So, we are moving on to the last question of the day. Any message, advice you would like to share with our audience, viewers and listeners?
I think I've shared everything. What else? What comes, basically my core belief is that we need to provide a better future for our next generation.
True.
So don't consume yourself, just being only about yourself. Think about the next generation, and because you've brought them into this world, they are your responsibility.
Correct.
And handing over the world, passing on the world,
Right.
It's not just their emotional and mental well-being, also the environmental resources, the way we must take up water is going to be all of those things. I mean, we need to pass on everything that we've been blessed with to the next generation, and that should be the most important thing in life.
Right. That's it. That is really a wonderful thought to pass on. Most important thing is what we are creating and what we are offering to our next generation. That is really important. So what an amazing insight, I must say. It was really amazing to hear from you.
Thank you so much.
And I really enjoyed our conversation. Looking forward to hear more from you again soon. Thank you so much for your time,
Sure.
Deepa. It was amazing talking to you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And we've been delaying this discussion for quite a while. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. The thing is, what we discussed today is really meaningful. That is the most important thing. And I also would like to share your website and social media links so that people can be in touch with you, take your help, guidance wherever.
The social media links are there. However, the website, it's, I think, still going to take time because my website person is not. We've not been able to coordinate for a while, so it's going to be coming up soon. So I'll share.
Sure. We will share that
as soon as.
And so, guys, don't forget to check that out too. Thank you so very much, everyone, for watching and listening. I hope you all must have gathered a lot of information and enjoyed watching it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good time. Thank you, and bye bye.
Thank you.